Yes.
Yes. And was anyone...
Can we check on that?
Okay.
Cannot recall fully.
You said he was a nephew
Relative.
or a relative?
of a deputy permanent secretary?
Yes.
Now, sir, I want to take you forward a bit to about 3 to 4 o'clock on that same day.
Madam, before you
Sorry,
proceed,
sure.
let me ask you, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, Commissioner.
You told us of an arrest, but then what? I mean, this was still your district.
Yes.
So do you know what happened subsequent to the
Yes,
arrest?
that person was put on bail
Yes.
by the commando, me.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm unable to say at this stage what transpired thereafter.
You don't know.
No, because I was removed from being the commander of that division.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to take you back to about 3 to 4 o'clock that day. And around that time, were you back in office at Brickdown?
Yes, I was in office at Breakdown.
And did you then receive a telephone call?
Yes, I did receive a telephone call.
From whom?
Senior Superintendent Azor.
And is this the same senior superintendent, Azor, who you
Yes.
had previously described as being the next in line after you in rank?
Yes, correct.
Did he advise you of anything?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
was that?
He advised me that he was told by Miss Roxton Myers, the Deputy Chief Immigration Officer, that a very important announcement,
Immigration officer. Election.
election officer,
Yeah.
sorry, a very important announcement is to be made.
And was there a request
Yes.
coming along with that?
He requests some additional police ranks.
And did you in turn give any instructions?
Yes. I told him to use the available resource he has at his disposal.
And did you return to Ashman's yourself?
Yes, I returned there
Now,
thereafter.
I forgot to ask you this. Senior Superintendent Azor, can you recall what his first name is?
Philip also.
When you returned to Ashman's that afternoon, did you receive any information?
Yes. I received information that Mr. Claymont Mingo had made a declaration.
When you say a declaration, what you're talking about?
Well, he would have said something. I'm unable to exactly the word that he said.
No, I mean a declaration in the elections?
Yes.
Okay.
Declaring Region 4 results.
Okay. And when you returned to Ashman's, did you see any commissioners there, any GCOM commissioners?
Yes, I saw 3 GCOM commissioners.
Who were they?
Miss Bibi Shiddiq, now deceased, Mr. Rosenberg, and Mr. Sage Gunraj.
And did you observe whether there were any police officers there at Ashman's building?
Yes, they were police officers manning the doors at Ashman building.
So, did you inquire as to how they now came to be manning the doors of Ashman's building
Yes,
as opposed to the earlier arrangement?
from my observation, those police officers were strategically placed at doors.
And did you find out who had given them instructions to man those doors?
It was I did, and it was Senior Superintendent Azur.
Thomas, is this information that was relayed to you by these officers that Mr. Senior Superintendent Azos
Yes,
detailed them?
yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Now, let's just step back a bit. You said that when you got there, you heard that a declaration had been made in the elections by Mr. Claremont Mingo. Had you known Mr. Mingo before?
Not personally, but by seeing him on television.
Okay. And do you know what role he was performing at Ashman's building on that day?
Yes, he was the returning officer for Region 4.
Thank you. At any time, did you speak to Mr. Mingo that day?
No,
Now, did you make inquiries as to the ranks or the officers there? What instructions exactly they had received from Senior Superintendent Azor?
well, the instruction was clear to me that he gave them to man the door, preventing persons at GCOM, mostly political party representative, from entering certain areas.
Certain areas of Ashman's building?
That's correct.
And you got this information after speaking to members of your ranks?
Yes.
Can you now remember any names in particular to whom you spoke?
Yes. I remember one female was placed at the door, and her name is Wilford, I recall that.
Wolford?
Yes.
And she was one of the persons who gave you information about those instructions from Senior Superintendent
Yes.
Azor?
Correct.
Are you familiar with the name Zulfikar Mustafa?
Yes. Mr. Zulfikar Mustafa
Had,
is,
had you known him before?
yes,
And how had you known him? In what capacity?
a main political figure, very active political figure.
And when you went to Ashman's that afternoon, did you see Mr. Mustafa there?
Yes, I saw him there.
Did you speak with him?
Yes, I spoke with him.
And what did he say to you, if anything?
He told me that he's trying to serve a notice to GCOM official, and the police ranks are preventing him from doing so.
And did he show you any document?
Yes, he showed me a document.
And what did it appear to you to be?
It appeared to me to be a notice, which I did not actually read the full content of it.
Okay. And having showed you this document, did you give any instructions to your ranks?
Yes. I immediately gave instructions for the ranks to open all doors so that the representative can have access to persons who they want to contact.
And those persons would have been GCOM officials?
Correct.
Now, at around that time, did you see the CEO of GCOM?
No, I did not.
Did you see Mr. Mingo?
No, I did not.
Did you see the chairman?
Yes, I saw the chairman trying to make our way out of the building.
Was she accompanied by anyone?
She was accompanied by the police, and Azor was one of that person.
Were you able to speak to her?
No, I did not.
Now, you told us earlier that you had seen 3 GCOM commissioners there. Did you speak to the GCOM commissioners?
Not the three of them together. Subsequently, I spoke to one of them.
And which one was this?
Mr. C.S. Gunraj.
And what was the nature of your conversation?
That stemmed from where Miss Roxanne Myers were trying to evict persons from GCOM's building.
Okay. Now, this Roxanne Myers, about whom you speak, was this same Deputy Chief Election Officer who had been at the meeting in February 2020?
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about this. You said that she was trying to evict persons from the building. Tell me exactly what occurred. What did you see? What did you hear?
It started off with Miss Roxanne Myers was up on the upper floor, or the first floor, from the ground floor.
Right. Was she saying anything?
Yeah, she was saying that they need to vacate the building. People need to vacate the building.
And was she giving a reason for wanting people out of the building?
No reason was given at the time.
Was she speaking in a soft voice, a loud voice? How was she speaking?
She was shouting in an aggressive manner.
Now, you just told us that she wanted people out of GCOM building. When you say that, you mean the Ashman's building?
Ashman. Yeah.
So after Miss Myers started shouting about wanting people out of the building, you had a conversation with GCOM Commissioner Gunraj?
Yes, I did.
Before that.
Sure.
You heard Miss Myers shouting. Do you recall what she was saying to the persons who were there, whom she wanted out?
She wanted everyone there to get out.
No, she couldn't have been saying that. What I'm speaking about direct language. Do you remember what she said?
She said, I want you all out of the building.
I want you all out of the building.
Yes.
Do you recall her also saying, I want to close up the place?
Yes, she said that.
So having heard that, you had a conversation with GCOM Commissioner Gunraj, and this was in relation to what?
Securing statement of poll and election-related materials.
Now, did Ms. Myers remain on the upper floor while you were there?
She came down to the lower floor.
And when she came down to the lower floor, did she have any interaction at all with the commissioner who was there?
The commissioner was trying to get over to her that
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Commissioner was trying to...
Commissioner C.S. Gunraj was trying to get over to Ms. Roxanne Myers that they need to protect the statement of poll, to secure it.
And what was Ms. Myers' response?
Ms. Myers actually did not pay any attention to Mr. Gunraj's concern. She was more inclined to getting people out of the office.
And when you say she was more inclined to getting people out of the office, was she speaking? Was she moving people out of the way? What was she doing?
She engaged the police to get people out of the building.
In your statement, which was put in evidence this morning, you say that she was shouting,
Yes.
and she said, "You all need to get out from here."
Yes.
And then you followed that by saying, "I was in uniform." I assume that meant police uniform
Yes, Commissioner.
at all material times.
Yes, Commissioner.
Did you understand from the "you all need to get out from here" that that remark was also directed to you?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So, having shouted at you all that you needed to get out of there, did you observe anyone enter the building?
Yes. But before that, Ms. Myers was in a conversation with Deputy Commissioner Graham, indicating within my hearing, indicating to her that Thomas is not complying, which Thomas, the Assistant Commissioner, is not complying with the instruction to get out, people out of the building.
One minute,
so-
Mr. Thomas. You said she was in conversation with Deputy Commissioner. Where was Deputy Commissioner?
At headquarters, my phone.
So you assumed she was speaking to him.
No, I know she was speaking because I heard.
You heard her speaking to someone.
Ms. Graham, I know, in fact, because the conversation was that long that I could have tell you that I could have be certain that it was Ms. Graham because something happened thereafter.
Okay.
You recognize Ms. Graham's voice?
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, so before I asked you if you saw anyone enter Ashman's building, and you said...
Sorry, one moment. What was the complaint? That
Thomas.
Thomas was not complying with her instructions to get
Yes.
people out of the building?
Yes. And she requested also.
Were you answerable to Ms. Meyer?
No.
Thank you.
Yes, so Ms. Myers had a conversation with Deputy Commissioner Graham on the telephone. And from what you've said, you were able to hear what was said during that telephone conversation.
Yes.
And Ms. Myers was making a complaint about you.
Yes.
Now, did you hear what Deputy Commissioner responded to her?
No.
After this conversation took place, did you see anyone enter Ashman's building?
Yes. Before that, Azor, Senior Superintendent Azor, was seen coming to my direction towards Miss Roxanne Myers.
Now, had you asked Senior Superintendent Azor to come to Ashman's building?
He was there, but I didn't ask him for any assistance at the time
Okay.
or give him any instruction to do anything.
And did he reach Ms. Myers?
No. After making face-to-face contact with me, he diverted.
Do you know where he went?
No. I know he was still somewhere around in the
Okay.
building.
Did you see any members of the police special branch that afternoon at Ashman's building?
Yes, approximately 8.
And had you requested or had you called out members of the police special branch?
No, I did not.
Did you confirm with any of those persons that they were in fact from the special branch?
Yes. My action since that I was still in charge of that security, my intention or I attempted to evict them out of the building. Those 8 persons.
Who was the head of special branch at that time?
Deputy Commissioner Mr. Nigel Hoppy.
Hoppy, Mr. Nigel Hoppy. So, had Mr. Hoppy spoken to you at all?
No, did not.
You had, by this time, served for several decades in the Guyana Police Force, correct?
Correct.
And can you tell us very briefly what functions the police special branch carry out within the police service?
Basically, covert operation and VIP security.
And
VIP.
VIP security. Sure.
Mr. Thomas, before your attempt to evict members of the special branch, did you confer with Deputy Commissioner Nigel Hoppy?
No, I did not.
Any particular reason?
Because I was confident that those ranks were from the special branch.
No, well, yes, you knew they were from the special branch, but as to why they were there,
In my own opinion, after this issue with Miss Roxanne Myers, it is my humble opinion that they were in support of war, and Mr. Oppie would have known that they are there. That's why I didn't contact him
that was just your view. That's your opinion you held at the time.
at the time.
Right. But in his capacity as a deputy commissioner for special branch, you had no discussion with him
No discussion with him.
as to whether these 8 men were there on his instructions. You
I
didn't.
did not.
Right. Thank you.
Now, so let me take you back a little bit to the February 2020 meeting. Was Mr. Hoppy a part of that meeting?
No, he was not.
Was any representative of the special branch a part of that meeting?
No, they were not.
During the period of February 2020, when that meeting took place, and election day, was any member of the special branch in contact with you about arrangements for Ashman's building?
No,
Okay, just a second. In particular, did Officer Hoppy at any time during that period contact you with respect to any special arrangements for Ashman's building?
no,
From what you have told us, you were the most senior officer for the district at Ashman's building on the afternoon of that day, correct?
yes.
Can you tell us whether in your assessment of what was occurring there, whether there was any need for the special branch, as you saw it, to be called out?
No, there was no need for the special branch because they were not useful to my operations.
And did you have your own ranks there?
Yes. In my division at the time, there was a special branch operative or agent in my division.
Okay. And was he there at Ashman's?
No, he was not there.
And had you seen the need to call him out to Ashman's?
No, there was no need for me to call him out.
Now, what did these officers do when they arrived and you saw them in the building?
Immediately, they started to conceal themselves in the building,
When you say conceal themselves, what do you mean?
out of sight.
Did Miss Myers ask them to identify themselves?
No. And they enter the building, get into the top floor in the presence of Miss Myers.
They entered and went to the top floor
Yes,
in the presence of Miss Myers?
yes.
Well, did Miss Myers then ask them to leave the building?
At no time.
Did she shout at them? Well, did Ms. Myers then ask them to leave the building?
At no time.
Did she shout at them to get out of the building?
She did not. Was
And who was the commissioner of police at the time?
Mr. Leslie James.
After you spoke, after you had that conversation with Deputy Commissioner Graham, did you receive a telephone call from anyone?
Yes, I did receive telephone calls, several calls.
Yes, and from anyone in particular?
Mr. Leslie James, Commissioner of Police. Yeah.
What was the nature of that phone call?
He was supporting the case, Ms. Graham case, that the people need to vacate the building.
Again, so when you say he was supporting the case, what did he tell you? What was the conversation?
To have the people vacate the building. He told me that.
To have the people vacate the building?
Yes.
Okay. And you complied with that?
No, we had several discussions over that. I did not comply with that
Okay.
instruction.
Thank you.
So you received a telephone call from the Commissioner of Police. Did you bring him up to date as to what was happening at the Ashman's building?
I did. I indicated to Commissioner of Police, Mr. Leslie James, that we have an issue with security of the statement of poll and other election-related materials.
And what was his response to that, if any?
He was forcing his point that they must vacate the building.
When you say they, who did you understand him to be referring to?
Everyone that were there except the special branch. As he made no mention of them.
Okay. And when you spoke to him, did you tell him that you were actually at Ashman's?
Yes, I told him that.
After that first telephone call, did you receive another phone call from Commissioner?
I received phone calls from the commissioner where I tried, and the commissioner was actually indicating they must vacate the building. I was telling him that we have issue to settle, to sort out in terms of security of the statement of poll and other election materials.
And
That was actually not the question. Did you receive another call from him? That was
Yes, I did.
yes. And did he give you instructions in that second call?
To let the people vacate the building.
And what was your response to those instructions?
I did not comply indeed.
Okay.
You did not.
Comply with that instruction.
Did you express your concerns, the concerns that you told us about earlier? Did you express your concerns during that second phone call to him?
Yes, I did.
And after that second phone call, did you see any other persons entering Ashman's building?
Yes.
Who were these persons?
About 50 minutes thereafter, Assistant Superintendent at Clifton Davis,
Would that be Deputy Superintendent?
Deputy Superintendent Clifton Davis, and Assistant Superintendent Ali arrived.
Okay. Can you recall Assistant Superintendent Ali's first name?
No, I can't recall his first name.
Sure. What unit were they attached to?
The Tactical Services Unit.
Had you called them there?
No, I did not. And there was no need for me to call them.
When they arrived, did they come to you to speak to you as the most senior officer there?
No, they did not.
And did they do anything or say anything upon
Yes.
arriving?
They were telling the persons in the building to get out.
But you were senior to both men,
both of them.
and they didn't say anything to
They
you?
didn't say anything to me.
They saw you
Yes,
and ignored you?
and ignored it.
But did you speak to them?
Yes. At that stage, I reminded them that I am the senior person on the ground.
What was the response?
The response, they left the building immediately.
They left.
Yes.
Now, when you say they started telling people to leave the building, were they all, well, where was Mr. Gunraj at this point in time?
He was within sight,
So he was still in the building?
still in the building
And were these instructions directed to him as well?
as well.
Who is responsible? I don't know if you can assist us with this at all, but who is responsible for calling out the Tactical Services Unit?
My answer would be the Commissioner of Police only.
So as far as you understand it, you yourself had no authority to call out the Tactical Services Unit.
I did not.
You say you did not. But
I don't have the authority.
you don't have that authority. You would have to go through the commissioner
Commissioner of Police.
if you saw the need for it.
Commissioner, yes. Added to that, Commissioner, I had at my disposal a public order unit that I didn't use there because there was no need to use it.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Such a directive from the Commissioner of Police to call out the Tactical Services Unit would be what in police language is considered standard operating procedures?
No, it would not. To give you an idea how it works,
No.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you about how it works. I'm saying when that directive is given for the TSU to be sent out, that would be standard operating procedures in the force?
no,
That this directive must come only from the commissioner?
that is standard.
That's my question.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Sure.
The public order unit you had at your disposal on that day was there for what purpose, if needed?
They were there as the first line of reinforcement, law and order, if things actually get out of control.
But being the senior officer on the ground, in your assessment at the time, was there any need, in your opinion, for the TSU there?
There was no need. And to give you an idea in terms of the tactical services operation, after Mr. Davis and Mr. Ali came into the building, they went out and came back with some reinforcement.
Okay. When, I want to ask you this, when Deputy Superintendent Davis and Assistant Superintendent Ali arrived in the building, did you speak to them?
The first time I did speak to them because I was a senior person on the ground, and they had no authority in terms of give anyone order when I was the person on the senior person on the ground. So I told them about the conduct.
Okay. And did you remember you were telling us earlier that there were concerns about the security of statements of the polls. Did
Yes.
you bring that issue to their attention?
Yes, I told them that the issue here we have to deal with before people can evict the building is the security of the statement of poll and other election materials.
And did they make any response to you in relation to that particular issue?
No.
So from what you've just told us, they left and then they returned.
Yes.
And who were they accompanied by when they returned?
15 fully armed ranks dressed in TSU uniform.
Mr. Thomas, you were assigned security duties when I say you and the officers under your command. Was it part of your responsibility to cater for the security of the people in the building as well as elections-related materials?
Yes, it was my responsibility.
That was your charge?
Yes.
When Superintendent Davis returned with these heavily armed additional members of the TSU, did you have a conversation with him at all?
No conversation.
Okay, and what was he doing or saying?
He returned saying that he's not here for stupidness.
And did he give any instructions to anyone?
Yes.
What instructions did he give?
That everyone must vacate the building.
Where was Mr. Gunraj at this point,
He was
Commissioner?
He was within sight, standing next to me.
And those instructions were directed to Mr. Gunraj as well?
Everyone.
At that point, did you try to call anyone?
Yes. My opinion at the time that Mr. David was acting, seemed to be acting,
Okay, so just tell us who you tried to call.
Commissioner of Police.
Did he answer?
No, he didn't answer.
And not being able to get, how did you know his number? How did you get his number?
One, that I was a technical officer and my responsibility, one of my responsibilities assigned to see numbers assigned to senior officers.
Now, did you then call any other officer, any other senior officer? Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
Yes,
Sir,
thank you.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes,
you said you made efforts to contact the commissioner.
yes.
For what purpose were you calling the commissioner then?
Tell the commissioner that based on the action of Mr. Davis, that I'm no longer in charge of that commission, and I was seeking permission to leave the premises.
Can I ask you,
You wanted to tell him that as a result of the presence of Mr. Davis
And the right here.
and its team, you wanted permission to leave the building.
Yes.
Did you ever get the opportunity to convey that to him?
No, he did not answer.
can I ask you, did you try calling the commissioner once, twice,
Several times.
several times? And with the same result?
Same result.
You did not get through to him?
I called him on more than one telephone numbers.
Thank you. Now, you said that the of Deputy Superintendent Davis and his officers, his TSU officers, were telling everyone to get out of the building. Did you understand that to mean that you too had to get out of the building?
Yes.
And is it for that reason that you tried calling the commissioner? Well, not being able to get through to the commissioner, did you call any other senior officer?
I called Ms. Graham, Deputy Commissioner of Police.
And were you able to reach her?
I reached her.
What did you say to her?
I told her that I'm leaving.
And did you give her the reason for that?
Yes.
And what became of Commissioner Gunraj?
I indicated to Commissioner Guyanese that I can no longer guarantee his safety at the GCOM building.
Did you agree to escort him out of the
Yes,
building?
I did.
Where was Miss Myers when you and Commissioner Gunraj left the building?
She was still in the building.
Now, you had told us earlier about the tabulation, you had spoken earlier about the tabulation room. When you left Ashman's, can you recall whether that tabulation room had been secured at all?
Based on examination of that room, I was convinced that at no time that room could have been secured since the locks were not working on the door.
Okay. And apart from Miss Myers, when you left that building, were there any other GCOM employees within that building? Are you able to say?
Not within sight.
Sorry?
Not within sight.
Does that mean that you were aware that the other GCOM personnel were there but not within sight, or?
Yes, it started off with Miss Myers and another female. I don't know who was that female. They were together.
Okay.
And at no way did I see that female leave the building.
Okay, so let's take you to the next day, which is the 6th of March. So let me make sure. I'll ask you it this way. At about 7 o'clock on the 6th of March 2020, did you do anything?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
Being in charge of the division still, I went to GCOM's building.
When you say GCOMs, you mean Ashman's?
Ashman building.
Yes.
At Field and I Street.
And did you make any observations when you got there?
Yes. I saw barriers erected closer to the building, preventing people from getting close to the building.
Had you given instructions for such barriers to be erected?
I did not get such an instruction.
And did you make any observations about the gates to the building?
Yes. They were all locked.
At that time, did you observe whether there were any party representatives and observers in the vicinity of the building?
Yes. There were party representatives and observers were on the outer corner of the barriers.
And who was manning these barriers?
Police ranks.
Did you speak to those ranks?
Yes, I did.
And did you make any inquiry of them about why these people were not being allowed into the building?
I did. And I was told that that was the instruction given by Mr. Philip Azor, Senior Superintendent of Police.
Now, Senior Superintendent Azor, being your junior officer, I have to ask you this. Had he told you that he had given these instructions to your ranks?
No.
And can you remember the name of any of the ranks present that morning to whom you spoke?
I cannot recall the name because there were several barriers. But I had a vivid recollection of who would have been there.
Okay, can you remember their names?
I know Inspector Khan, now officer was there. He was one.
Inspector
Khan,
Khan was one, yes. Okay, sure. Now, having received this information about instructions coming from Senior Superintendent Azor, did you contact Azor?
Yes, I did.
How did you do so?
I called him via telephone and inquired of him who gave such an instruction.
And what did he say, if anything?
He did not answer, but immediately after, my phone rang.
He immediately clicked on.
He did not answer. But immediately after, the witness's phone rang. And when you did you answer your phone?
Yes, I did.
Who was it?
Deputy Commissioner Graham.
And did she say anything to you
Yes.
at that time?
Yes.
What did she say?
That I am no longer in command of the division. Azur is in command, and I must go to the headquarters to receive a letter
Did she say what kind of letter?
of posting.
Did she give you any reason for that, sir?
No, she did not.
For that removal from your position?
She did not.
Did you follow her instructions to go to police headquarters?
Yes, the Deputy Commissioner Williams.
And did you receive anything from Deputy Commissioner Williams?
Yes, I received a letter from Deputy Commissioner Williams stating that, well, he said to me first that the commissioner was not pleased with my performance.
Did he say why?
No, he didn't say why.
And he handed you a letter.
Yes, he gave me a letter.
Did you read it?
I read it.
Where do you know where that letter is now?
I am able to find it.
Have you looked for it?
I looked for it.
And what was the effect of that letter?
The letter clearly stated that I am no longer in command of Region Division 4. I have been assigned patrol officer at headquarters.
What kind of officer?
Patrol officer.
What does that mean?
My own terminology, based on my police experience, is just somebody who in charge of a beat. A senior person in charge of a police beat.
But you maintain your rank.
Yes. Which is not in keeping with the duty of a assistant commissioner of police.
I was about to ask you that, whether that type of duty falls under the ambit of an assistant commissioner of police. Who normally would be a senior officer for that type of patrol duty, or beat duty as you call it?
That may stop at the level. In my career in the force, I saw senior superintendent in charge of patrol stations.
Okay, yes.
This patrol bicycle or horses?
All included.
All included.
Bicycle, car, motorcycle, whatsoever means of patrol, foot patrol,
Okay.
whatsoever.
So it was really a unilateral transfer, not a, in other words, you maintained your rank
Yes.
as Assistant Commissioner of Police. Sorry.
Now, you told us earlier that Commissioner Williams advised you that the commissioner himself had not been pleased with your performance.
Yes.
Did he tell you why the commissioner was not pleased?
He did that.
Now, having received this assignment to the beat, did you object to it?
Yes, I did.
And were you then reposted to another division?
Yes. After objecting to that, on this, I told Mr. Williams that I have no problem working in the Guyana Police Force, but not under the supervision of Deputy Commissioner Gray, who was in charge of operation where the beat patrol officer falls under.
So were you reposted to another division?
Yes, I was reposted to the Civil Defense Commission.
And did you remain there for a while?
Oh, well, yes, correct.
And then were you reposted anywhere else after that?
Then I was reposted to headquarters.
Were you assigned to any division when reposted?
I was there doing nothing.
Okay. Now, sir, you are, sorry?
You were reposted to police headquarters.
Yes.
And you said doing nothing?
Nothing.
What, sitting at a desk?
Not even a desk. I wasn't given a desk.
So you were not accommodated here?
I was not accommodated.
Or did you go to work?
Twice monthly.
Twice per day?
Monthly.
Or twice monthly?
I was given the office, and what I do is I used to report to Mr. Williams, somewhere around the 4th and sometime around the 15th. After not being assigned anything, 2 times per month and I'm reporting.
You had a loss of pay?
No loss of pay.
Mr. Thomas, that reposting to headquarters, where you said you had nothing to do, was that communicated to you in writing?
No, it was not communicated to me in writing.
And who gave you the reassignment to police headquarters to do nothing?
It was Deputy Commissioner Williams. His responsibility is the posting of senior officers is one of his responsibilities.
So what did he tell you?
He told me that I will be reposted to headquarters. Where, he did not indicate where. As I indicated, there was no desk or office given to me.
Did you ask?
Yes, I did.
What was the response?
I didn't get a definite answer from Mr. Williams, but what I know for a fact, that I was not welcome at headquarters.
Well, that is something else.
In your view, these must have been personal travails. Were you given any reason why you were subjected to this kind of experience?
No reason given to me.
Except that on one occasion you were told that the commissioner was not pleased with your performance.
Yes.
And that perhaps, if we're getting anywhere near to a reason, that would have been the reason.
Most likely.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. So, sir, today you are dressed in a long sleeve, white shirt jack and black pants. Is that a uniform?
Yes, my uniform.
And what uniform is that?
Presidential Guard working with.
Okay. In 2020, can you recall what was the uniform of the then Presidential Guard?
Yes, I can.
What was it?
Black pants, black long sleeve shirt, or short sleeve shirt.
Now, you told us, you spoke about the Commissioner of Police. If you see a photograph, will you be able to identify or tell us whether that's a photograph of the Commissioner?
Yes.
That a document be placed. You now have a document in your hand bearing a photograph. Can you tell me whether you recognize who's in that photograph?
Yes. It's a true image of the Commissioner of Police.
I'm asking that that be admitted into evidence as ET1A, and I have 3 copies for the commissioners.
Can you repeat the number, please?
ET1A.
This is the
Commissioner of Police.
Yes.
That time, I beg your pardon. the Commissioner of Police about whom he spoke.
Yes.
Yes, I am going to ask that another document be placed in your hand. You told us you spoke of a Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Ms. Graham. I'm asking that another document be placed in your hand.
Yes. This is a true image of Deputy Commissioner Maxine Graham.
The document you hold in your hand is a true image of Deputy Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
I'm asking that this be admitted as ET1B, and I have copies for the commissioners.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to, you spoke of your junior officer, senior superintendent, as Zoe. I'm going to ask that a document be placed in your hand. Want you to have a look at it.
Yes. This is a true image of Mr. Philip as well, Senior Superintendent of Police.
That document is a photograph, appears to be a photograph of Senior Superintendent Azor.
Yes.
I'm asking that this be admitted as ET1C. I have copies for the commissioners. Sean?
Yes.
Yes.
81C.
At this stage, Mr. Chairman, I'm respectfully going to ask that the viewing public
Yeah.
be allowed to see the images which have been admitted into evidence as ET1A, ET1B, and ET1C. So will someone just advise me as to when it's shown? Right. Yes, I understand that it has been shown for viewing members of the public.
Thank you.
So, is there anything else I need to ask him? These are my questions for this witness commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you,
We have
Commissioner.
no further questions.
Thank you.
Might he be relieved?
Yes?
Thank you,
You are
sir.
relieved and thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
May I indicate that these are the witnesses we have available today?
Well, at this stage, the commission will adjourn until Monday morning, 9 o'clock.
Much obliged.
Right.